Isometric 3D design is an orthographic projection with a 120-degree angle between the three axes. The composition always has a top-down perspective, resembling the eye of God, which allows for the depiction of numerous objects that would be impossible to see in a traditional two-dimensional projection. This three-dimensional style effectively conveys a sense of space and feeling of depth, allowing to incorporate a lot of details. This style represents three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional plane with maintaining proportions. It has found application in games starting in the 1980s, especially in RPG and strategy genres, as well as the iconic The Sims. Historically, it was dictated by the technical limitations of that era, when three-dimensional graphics were unattainable, yet there was a need to create an illusion of depth and volume. Nowadays, its use can evoke nostalgia for classic computer games. In isometry, all lines remain parallel and do not converge. Another characteristic is the detailed diagonal lighting of objects, which adds a natural feel when the design aims to mimic living cities. For example, in the Nanosoft project, the city illustration symbolized the versatility of product applications. Isometric style is also ideal for cutaway views, house and floor plans. It is widely used to visualize interiors, products, and infrastructure. In navigation systems such as those in museums or galleries, isometric maps can show visitors their current location, what is happening in other rooms, and how to reach them. Before becoming popular among graphic artists and web designers, isometric projections were used by engineers and technical illustrators to depict complex objects, machines, and systems. A notable example is the DIY IKEA instructions. As for the color palette, there are no strict rules. However, thanks to the influence of Google Material Design, isometric 3D is often seen in shades of purple, turquoise, and blue, which give the style a futuristic touch. Inflatable style. Inflatable style visually resembles inflatable objects that appear light and puffed up. Inflatable 3D can often be seen in commercials and interactive installations. This style frequently utilizes bright colors and soft textures, giving objects a childlike or cartoonish aesthetic. This trend in graphic design reflects the vibrant pinks, blues, and iridescent tones characteristic of the 2000s and the Y2K aesthetic, featuring futuristic and often exaggerated forms with glossy textures. Inflatable 3D art often incorporates bubble-like fonts and balloon-inspired shapes, evoking a sense of digital optimism and whimsy, blending progressive aspirations with playful retro influences.
Many graphic design tools, such as Adobe Illustrator, allow flat elements to be transformed to achieve the juicy, plump, so-called bubblegum look. The art of Jeff Koons, with his famous sculptures imitating balloons, draws a clear parallel to the Inflate 3D aesthetic. Both transform familiar objects into exaggerated, playful versions of themselves, often featuring shiny, polished surfaces. Koons' works, such as the iconic balloon dog, evoke the joy of childlike wonder while simultaneously addressing themes of consumerism and pop culture.
Similarly, just as Koons' sculptures blur the line between fine art and commerce, Inflate 3D in digital design merges artistic expression with commercial visual effects. Undoubtedly, one of the most captivating artists working in the 3D inflate style is her 3D bubblegum-like landscapes filled with whimsical characters and nostalgic objects play with the medium in unprecedented ways. According to an Adobe report on skills in the 3D design industry, it remains male-dominated. Contrasting mainstream aesthetics, Lulu's work often explores complex themes, from self-doubt and imposter syndrome to the hypersexualization of women within the African diaspora. Clay render is a type of rendering initially used in architectural visualization and 3D modeling. Over time, it has come to be regarded as an independent artistic style. In this render, all objects in a scene are covered with a uniform, simple material, most often gray, without textures or intricate details. This method allows for the evaluation of lighting, shadows, and composition without distracting elements. Due to its simplicity and cost-effectiveness, this type of rough visualization is often used for reconstructing historical events and in journalistic investigations, such as those featured on channels like Imperial and Lemino. Examples include the millisecond-level mapping of an assassination attempt on Trump on YouTube channel Fun and iTelly, or the detailed visualization of executions in Japan on Hugu. The simplified monochromatic approach of clay render focuses attention on form, structure, and geometry, making it ideal for detailed representations of buildings and architecture. In a broader artistic context, the clay render technique also evokes associations with minimalism, reducing objects to their fundamental forms. For instance, in the ceramics of contemporary artists like Monica van den Doel, similar approaches can be observed. Simplified colors and shapes create an aesthetic effect reminiscent of clay render visualization.